What's going on, guys? I suck at introducing videos. My subscribers already know that, and for you new guys, you're going to figure that out right now. So since I've made the intro extremely awkward already, let's just get right into it and show you the scope that you came here to look at. The DiscoveryOpt 1:6x24. All right, so first I'm going to take you inside and we're going to look at this thing as it came out of the box, and we're going to go over some of the specs and all that stuff and get it mounted on the gun. All right, so here is the scope, the box. Anyway, this is how it comes. It's got a nice label on front, a little bit of information there, the model number, a little picture of the reticle. This is pretty cool, a little detailed picture there. I have opened this. It did come in plastic, but you know, I'm like a little kid. I can't leave things alone, so I had to open it, take the plastic off, and look at it. But anyway, it's a little information card. It's got the name, the model, some stats on it, you know, the click value, objective size, things like that. We'll look at that in more detail later. You got a little instruction manual, which is actually pretty good. It gives you some definitions of like what the ocular lens is, what parallax is, things like that. Not too bad. Then you've got your quality control. I guess this is all the people that, you know, checked all of the features and things on the scope and stamped it. So that's pretty cool that they put that in there. Then you got a big chamois cloth. Chamois, am I saying that right? Chamois. Anyway, it's one of those soft like microfiber deals to wipe the lenses off. Pretty neat also. All right, so the main thing, the scope. Here it is. This is the 1:6, 24. 24, I guess, is the objective lens. It's got these little rubber caps on here. They don't flip up. They're just kind of on there, I guess, to protect it. This one's kind of hard to get off. There we go. So that's the body of it. I'm not quite sure why this end gets bigger like that, because the lens is actually like this size. It's 24 inside of this 30mm tube. I mean, you can kind of see that very well, but yeah, the lens is reset back in there. So I don't know if that's so it can gather more light, or you know, if it comes with this little sunshade. So I don't know if that's just to make it easier, like if this is a universal part with other models or what, but you know, it does have a little bit bigger bell on the objective lens. Objective lens? Ocular? Objective. Then you got your illuminated turret, illuminated reticle turret, I mean. This is the battery compartment. It didn't come with a battery because I don't think they can ship it overseas with batteries. I think I saw that somewhere. This thing's got 1,000,000 threads on it. Anyway, put a little CR 2032 in there. It's got a little O-ring around it, so I guess it's somewhat waterproof, watertight. That thing turned back down. All right, the adjustments on the illumination are 1 to 6. You see there's 6. You kind of see it glowing in there maybe. And then 1. So it does have like the little intermediate notches. I guess what turns the light off. So if you're on like 4, you don't have to scroll all the way back to 0. You can just click it like one click, and it'll turn it off no matter where it's at. These are the elevation and windage turrets. They're covered with caps. I like that, especially on like 1 to 6 scopes, low power for like a fighting rifle. I like them to be covered, so when you're bumping around, you're not like adjusting these. And also, most of these scopes come with a reticle that has BDCs and things like that in it. So you don't really need to be turning your turrets and your windage and elevation and all that while you're trying to make a shot. Just use the reticle or, you know, your holdovers or whatever. So that's cool. These knobs are really big. You see there, 1 click equals 0.1 mil. So clicks are in mils. And I'm assuming the reticle is in mils also. I don't know if I saw that anywhere. If I find it, I'll annotate it, note it. I'll put it on the screen somewhere. Anyway, really good clicks. I don't know how well it's coming up on the microphone, but they're very audible, very positive clicks. And it's real easy right here. It's got a U and a D, so up goes this way, down goes that way. For all you geniuses out there. Same thing with this one, right, left, you know, 0.1 mil. It's got a little notch right here, I guess, to tell you. I don't know if these are zero stop or not. They have a little Allen key, so maybe they are. Like I said, I'm not gonna mess with them. I'm gonna set them where they are and then just cover them up, and that's gonna be the end of it. There's your, I guess your adjustment ring right there to go from 1 to 6. Here's your objective lens. It does have like a fast focus, what they call it, right there. And one thing I have just playing around with this thing for a few days, not on a gun, this lens is very close, if you can see right there, very close to the end. And you get a lot of glare off of it. As you can see just by looking at it like this, there's a lot of glare. And I would imagine if they could, you know, extend this a little more or reset the lens in, it maybe could cover up some of that. And also I just don't like the glass being that close to the end. It's kind of exposed right there. So that might be one thing they can work on in the future. All right, go back to the packaging. Real nice packaging, foam. It's got a good cardboard box. It's not in a clamshell clear plastic thing like you'd get like a Walmart scope. Here's the sunshade. Like I said before, it just kind of threads into the front right there. If you want to, you know, have an even longer scope, look like a sniper maybe. I'm probably not going to run that because, you know, I don't really see the need to on a scope like this. Way down in here, this is pretty cool. It's like one of those little honeycomb, anti-reflective, anti-glare caps, and it threads in there also. That's pretty cool. Knock down on the glare, the reflective signature of the lens. It does not, however, thread into the sunshade. I already tried it, so you either get one or the other. In my case, I'm probably going to go with the anti-reflective. This box right here, just some scope rings, just a standard 30 mil, like cheapo scope rings, you know, kind you get like off Amazon, like an airsoft store or something like that. They're probably not the greatest. I'm not really going to use them. I'm going to use this instead. This is like an AR style one piece. It's either a Burris or I think it's actually an SWFA Salt. You can kind of see it under the paint maybe. I think Salt was the like acronym they used for this. Anyway, it's a 30 mil one piece for the AR because it's going to mount on my 18-inch AR. That's what I'm going to test it on. Anyway, that's, you know, they do give you rings and an Allen key in there. This is another cool thing. This is the little knob lever, throw lever. That's the word I'm looking for. It screws right into here. I think all scopes should come with a throw lever. I mean, how much does it cost to add this and, you know, thread in a little piece for it? That way you don't have to get a clamp on. Like my primary arms, I had to get a clamp on throw lever. They probably do offer them now. I just been too lazy to look before I made the video. But anyway, it's real nice. You get a throw lever. I'd probably put some Loctite on that and crank it down real good so it doesn't come loose. But you can, you know, makes it easier like that. The adjustment is fairly stiff. You know, it's not like loose where it's going to move on you, but it's not like terrible. It'd probably loosen up over time. And if I get it mounted to a gun, it'd probably be a lot easier than just doing it in my hand like this. But at any rate, throw lever included, and that's pretty neat. All right, so let's go over some of this little card right here. There's the brand name, DiscoveryOpt. I'm not sure if it's DiscoveryOpt or Discovery Optics. It says Opt, so I'm going to go with that. Model, EDAR, you know, you guys can read 1 to 6. First focal plane, that's one thing I forgot to mention. This is less than 150 bucks for this scope, and it's first focal plane, which is really cool. Field of view, You know, we've got different size field of views, exit pupil, eye relief, that sort of thing. Your total adjustment in mils, objective size, whatever. The weight, 23.2 ounces, which to me for a 1:6, that's a little heavy. I think most of them are coming in right around the 1 pound range. So for the guys that forgot their science or math or whatever subject it is, or you go over weight, a pound is 16 ounces and that's 23. So we're looking at, you know, 1 pound and 7 ounces, almost 1.5 pounds for this guy. It doesn't feel too heavy in the hand. I'm sure I'll notice it when I get it on the rifle, but you know, it's not terrible. So I'm going to roll in some pictures of the reticle so you can see it a little better. Got it on 1 power. I'm not sure. It's gonna be really hard for me to adjust it, or to get this thing, especially with the light behind me. It's putting a lot of glare. I'll roll in some pictures of the reticle from 1 power to 6 power, daylight, dusk. I guess dusk when it's like late afternoon, kind of not very much light, and then at dark with a little bit of ambient, like street light if you're in an urban setting. I've also got some pictures. I took it with me when I went hunting a few days ago in the afternoon. So I've got some pictures of low light in the woods and low light in an urban setting. And it actually did fairly well, you know, for the price and everything. It did fairly well at gathering light and enabling me to see at dark. You know, I could see things with my eyes, and when I look through the scope, it's like either the same or a little bit better. You know, it's definitely not worse. It's definitely not darker than how I would be viewing it with my naked eyeballs. So that's a positive. So anyway, we're going to get this thing put in this scope mount and get it put on my AR and take it out of the range and shoot it a little bit. I've also got this little riser for my AR because this is a 1.5 inch, like a standard co-witness height. And I'm going to slap it on top of this little guy. And it's going to give me, this is a 1/2 inch, 1.5. So, math wizards, we're going to get about 2 inches of center line on the scope. So it'll be fairly close to that 1.93 that everybody's kind of going after these days. So the reason I did that is because when I got behind the rifle with the scope, it's the mount that's on it right now, it's 1.5 also. When I got behind it and closed my eyes and just laid my head down, my eye wanted to look at the top of the scope ring right there. So I measured it. It was about 1/2 inch. So we move it up, we should be good. So anyway, enough rambling. Let's take all 1,000 of these screws out and get the scope mounted in here and see what it looks like. All right, so we've got the scope mounted up here. We've got the 1/2 inch riser mounted up under this SWFA 30 millimeter one-piece mount. And I've got all 12 of these screws in, just kind of finger tight. I'm going to use this old Wheeler fat wrench, torque wrench, to put them to about 15 inch-pounds. If you don't have one of these and you work on guns, you really need to get one. I went a long time without having one. I just kind of guesstimated a lot of things, but this thing right here takes all the guesswork out. You know, get you one of these if you want to work on guns. Like I said, I just got this at about 15 inch-pounds right now, which is not a lot. But these screws are small, and there's 12 of them, and it's going on a 5.56. Probably the softest shooting 5.56 I have. It's an 18 inch with a rifle gas, rifle buffer, and a 2-port brake on the front. So yeah, very soft shooting, very smooth. So anyway, there's that. I need to get this cranked down. Let's see, 1/2 inch. Oh yeah, this one just gonna do a little bit tight. I got this big wrench right here. This thing is really cool. I don't even know where this came from. It's probably like a dirty Santa gift or something, but it's got all these little things on here. I use the heck out of this. I use it on everything. My truck, you know, tractor, cars, building things, putting things together, all kind of stuff. Just get it a little snug right there, because this thing, as long as this handle is, you can really crank down on this stuff. But you got to remember, some of this stuff, a lot of these parts are aluminum, and the screws are small, so you don't want to crank them down too much. But anyway, there we go. I got it done. I got my my eye relief set. You know, kind of got it figured out right here. I would like these to be even. I'm kind of a, OCD about that, but as long as the eye relief is good, it's not that bad. And speaking of eye relief, the eye relief on this is not terrible. The eye box is a little bit tight though, like moving side to side. I've got a little video I'll roll in, but let's see if I can find the eye relief right there, 4.1 to 3.3 inches. So you've got a pretty good bit of range on the back here as far as like forward and backwards. Side to side though, that's a little different story. It's a little tight. So we're gonna take this thing out to the range and get it zeroed in and do some tracking with the turrets and see how it goes. All right, so they contacted me and wanted me to do a review on this scope, and I said, yeah, I'll take a scope to do a review on it. So yeah, they sent it to me for a review video, so here we are. This, like I said, is a 1:6 by 24. It's illuminated reticle, and it's first focal plane. That's really the big thing that kind of drew me toward this. I don't have any first focal plane scopes. This is kind of new, so I always wanted to kind of dive in that and see what that was like. For those of you that don't know what that means, first focal plane, to not get into the scientific of the lenses and all that stuff, first focal plane means when it's on the lowest power, the reticle is really small, and as you zoom in to 6, like on this one, the reticle gets bigger. It's almost like it's coming in to you, or you're going into the reticle. That's pretty cool, huh? So anyway, when you crank it down to 1 and you turn the light on, the illumination on, the little horseshoe just kind of looks like a little small, not really small, it's kind of like a big red dot, and just floating out there with some real thin lines beside it. And then as you crank it to 6, that horseshoe comes in closer, and you can see like the little dots inside it, and you can get a little more pinpoint. You can see the numbers on the actual reticle for your mils and whatever, windage, elevation, all that sort of thing. So that's pretty cool. Also, your windage and elevation, this is in mils, by the way. So all those little numbers, they don't change from magnification to magnification. So if you're on 1 power, if you can even see the little ticks, they're going to be the same, they're going to represent the same distance at 1 power as they do 6 power. On a second focal plane scope, to use, like if you have like bullet drops or mils or hash marks or whatever, to use those accurately, you have to be at max magnification, or whatever the scope was designed for. The majority of them, I'm guessing, are designed for max magnification. So like if you've got a 200 yard, a 300 yard, whatever, that's designed for max magnification. On a first focal plane, you can be halfway dialed in, like on 3, and if you want to hold 1 mil high for whatever reason, you can still hold 1 mil high, and it's going to be the same as it was on max power 6. So that's a pretty cool thing about first focal plane. So another thing I like about this scope is it has a 30 millimeter tube, like the main body, the tube right there is 30 millimeters. which I like more than 1 inch because there's more scope options. It seems to be like the tactical standard scope options, more scope, ring, and mount options. Let me correct myself. It seems to be kind of like the standard for you know, tactical AR, whatever, scope mounts, 30 mil tube. 34 is kind of like the long range stuff, and 1 inch is kind of like your, you know, rimfire or, you know, 3 to 9x40 that you put on your 270. So anyway, 30 millimeter tube. I believe it allows more light into the scope, so you can see better in low light or diminished light, like kind of like in the late afternoon or early morning, whatever. And this scope does pretty well at that. I was surprised for a $150 first focal plane scope. It actually did really good in low light. I took it hunting the other day. I'll throw in some pictures from the tree stand. I wanted to see how well it did at low light, because I've got some scopes that I can see, say it'll be like 4:30, 4:45 in the evening, right before dark. I can see down, you know, where the shooting lane, where the deer are going to be at. I can see and make out shapes and colors, but then when I look through the scope, it gets darker and I can't see anything, so I have to quit hunting earlier than I want to, because the scope doesn't allow me to see precisely enough to make a good shot on an animal. So long story short, you want or need a scope that lets in a lot of light, that either lets you see exactly what you can with your eyes or makes it even better. There are some scopes that make it better. This one has no problem letting you see in low light. So if you want to put it on a hunting rifle, this is a 1:6. If you want to put it on like a 308, that'd be pretty good. Or this is a 223 5.56 rifle. Worked pretty good on it too as a hunting rifle. The next thing I want to go over is the reticle, particularly the illuminated part of it. It has 6 settings with like cutoffs in between. So like if you roll it 1 click, it'll turn it on let's say 1. You roll it another click and it's like a tick mark, it cuts it off. Then you do it again, 2 off, 3 off, 4, you know, that sort of thing. It goes up to 6 maximum, and in the daylight, 6 brightness, the highest one, is decent. Depends on how much sunlight is coming like straight at you. I've got some pictures of this afternoon when I sighted it in at the range. The sun was kind of coming at an angle to the front of me, and it really washed out the reticle, the horseshoe, on max power. You could still kind of see it was there, but as the lower the sun got, like more directly into the scope, it just washed it out and you could barely see it. In lower light like this, or when there's not like direct sunlight, 6 power is plenty. Like it works great as like a little red dot. 1 power works great at night, or we'll say lower light, say 4:30, like you're hunting, or if it's nighttime and you're in an urban setting and there's street lights or just ambient light from buildings and things. 1 power works great. It's almost a little bit too bright, especially if you're in the woods and there's no ambient light and it's kind of dark because the trees and everything. The 1 power does get a little bit bright. It's not too bad, it's not too bright, but you know, it is what it is. It's only got 6 settings, so there's not much. Like my primary arms 1:6 that usually is on this rifle has like 11 or 12 settings, so you can dial it in a little more. It can get really bright and it can get really dim, and you can go anywhere in between, so that's good for that scope. A couple other things I like, it does come with a sunshade. I'm not going to use it because I don't really want to add it to, it doesn't belong on a scope like this. If you want to, that's cool. It's cool that they throw it in there. It's cool if you want to use it. The other thing is the little honeycomb anti-reflective thing. I probably will put that on here and leave it, because I'll show you, I think I got a video or a picture, when the reticle is on and you look from the front, you get like this red glare all through the tube and you can see it from the front really bad. And for you YouTube people that, not watch YouTube, but you people that work for YouTube and you're watching this video to make sure, you know, I can be monetized or whatever. Yeah, the gun is pointing at the camera, but I'm on private property and there's nobody around. This is a completely safe environment. The gun is not loaded. My finger is away from the trigger. So get off your high horse. Quit trying to demonetize my videos. Anyway, so that anti-glare thing on the front would probably help cut down some of that red light that you see through the front lens of the scope there. I also like that it comes with a throw lever. I think all tactical scopes should come standard with a throw lever. This one just kind of threads in. I put some Loctite on it so it doesn't come loose, but every scope like this should come with a throw lever, because you're really going to be like 1, you're going to throw it real quick to 6, push it back to 1. You don't really want to have to like grab or find the little thing, it just sucks not having a throw lever. So that's good that they added that in there. The knobs, the turrets and all that, you see from the tabletop, they are big, they have knurl marks, they're clearly marked, and they have loud, audible, tactile clicks on them. You can hear, I heard them through my earplugs at the range when I was adjusting it. So that's good. Since we're speaking about turrets, while I was at the range, I did do, I don't know, it's like a box test or whatever, where you like dial over, up, and you make a little square. You zeroed in and then make the little square, and I'm pretty sure I didn't do it right, but when I came back to what's supposed to be the middle, it was still sighted in. It came back to where it's supposed to. Like I dialed over, up, I went 15, 15, 30, 30, 30, 15, 15, back to the middle, and shot another group, and it didn't go anywhere. So what that tells you is the dials inside here are accurate and repeatable. If you have to move it for whatever reason, it's going to come back to where it was. Anyway, might have been a Sasquatch out there. These woods of Alabama, there's squatches out there. You guys don't believe me, just ask some old timers from the south. They'll tell you there's squatches out there. Dadgummit. Anyway, the knobs, they have really good knobs. The adjustments worked. It came back to 0. I think these are 0 stop, maybe. They have a little screw, little set screw on the top, and a notch. Sorry, my throat's dry. I'm not going to mess with that because this is like a fighting rifle, and it has the scope caps, or the turrets are covered. So I'm going to set it wherever it needs to be, throw the caps on, and leave it, because if you're slinging it and it's bumping, you're getting in and out of a car, whatever, climbing up in a tree stand, you don't want the knobs like turning and bumping and changing, and then you have to like try to reset it or 0 stop it back, whatever. Just set it, cover it up, and forget it. Like the Showtime rotisserie, set it and forget it. All right, so those are the things I like about the scope. Let's go over some things I was not too fond of. One we kind of already touched on was the amount of red light that is visible. Let's see if you can see it right now. Boom. I don't know. There it is. I don't know if you can see that right now. It's still pretty light outside. But there's a little bit of red light glare visible from the front. Another thing is the back right here. You can kind of see right there. It's kind of like a big fish globe looking thing. The lens is very close to the back of the scope. There's not much metal, protecting that lens. And there's two things. One, it lets a lot of glare, like visible glare on the curved lens. You get a lot of background glare on it. It kind of messes you up. And two, it's just not very well protected. It's like almost flush with the ring of the objective right there. And I just think it should be better protected, Yeah. The next thing that was kind of weird was this little bell shape on the end. I don't know why they made that bigger, because the lens is actually back here. It's back here in the 30 millimeter part. See, it's kind of like recessed back in there. So I don't know what the purpose for making this wider was. Like I said earlier in the video, I don't know if it was, they have universal sunshades or whatever, and they want them all to fit, or they think it's going to let more light in. Maybe it does, I don't know. But you know, all the other 1-6s, 1-8s just have, you know, the 30 mil tube all the way out. So it's not a big deal. It's just kind of like a little pet peeve. All right, so final thoughts on this guy right here. Overall, I like it. It's a $150 scope, less than that even. You go on Amazon, you can get them for less than 150 bucks. It's a 1-6 illuminated first focal plane with a pretty cool little reticle in it. It seems to be well made. It feels sturdy, kind of heavy. Turrets are good. So for the price and for what it is, I like it. You know, is it going to replace my primary arms on this rifle? No, I'm going to leave it on here for a little while. I'm going to shoot it mainly because I don't have another rifle, like a beater rifle, to leave it on and test it on. So I'm going to leave it on this one. I'll probably try to go hunting with it a little bit, see how it does there. Maybe shoot some more rounds on it. Maybe make another video later, like a update type video. So it's not going to replace my primary arms for my like go-to 1-6 scope. Like I said, mentioned earlier, it probably would go good on a hunting rifle if you had a 5.56 or a 308 and you wanted like a 1-6 on it, maybe for like hog hunting or something like that. You need some like big field of view or like low magnification. Probably work great for that, because you know, there is just not enough long-term data on how durable this thing is going to be. You know, I'm not really going to trust my life on it because I don't know enough about it. Really need to get some water, but I'm outside and the water's inside. I don't feel like going in there, so you just have to deal with it. Anyway, yeah, I'm not really going to trust my life on this on a like long-term fighting rifle, duty rifle, home defense, Minuteman, whatever type rifle. It's probably not where it's going to live. If you wanted to put it on maybe like a 22, you know, just like a little beater rifle, that'd be great for that. You know, that sort of thing. Anything less than trust your life with, it'd probably work great for that. So yeah, if you want to get one, go on Amazon. 140 bucks, somewhere around there. You might get a coupon discount, something like that. So there it is, the DiscoveryOpt 1-6 by 24 illuminated reticle, first focal plane. Oh yeah, get one if you want one. If you don't, hey, I don't care. I got one because they gave it to me. And yeah.